greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Say hello to my little friend.
I'm gonna make him an offer, Jim.
Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
A boy's best friend is his mother.
Believe me that Duke Wayne was very often at political gatherings and so forth, and most supportive of me, and I was very grateful to him for it. And he was typical John Wayne when things happened for or against. I remember, however, a meeting, and this was before politics for me, but back when I was president of the Screen Actors Guild. And this was at a time when there was a great communist infiltration of the motion picture industry. I don't think very many people are aware of this, that it really was, and it wasn't just something that a few of us dreamed up. The FBI was very much involved in it, and there was no question but that on orders from the Kremlin, it was to try and get control of the product of the motion picture industry, because at that time, Hollywood pictures took about 90% of the playing time of all the screens of the world. And Stalin had publicly stated this was the greatest medium for propaganda possible. And I remember one night at a Screen Actors Guild meeting, and I had been tipped off by the agency that how they operated to control meetings and to keep them going to the late hours until people would begin leaving, and then they knew their own count. And when they were then in the majority, if enough people left, then they would start passing the motions that they wanted. So I was made aware of that. And, you know, you and I, if we were going to control a meeting, we'd go in a body and sit together. No, they scattered. So that every time the floor was released and I was chairing the meeting, their hands went up, all of them, so that no matter who you pointed to, you had a 90% chance of catching one of them. Well, being aware of this, and when it started, the thing about that, when the legitimate business was over, one of our people did what I had proposed doing, and that is made a motion for adjournment. And there was a second to the motion, and I called out in the audience, and I said a motion to adjourn is always acceptable. They started yelling, point of order, point of order. Well, their point of order was that the second was just an anonymous voice from out in the audience, and how could I claim that this had been moved and seconded and so forth? I hadn't. And I just looked out of the audience, and I saw Duke Wayne sitting out there. And I said, well, not at all anonymous. I said, Duke, that was you, wasn't it, that seconded the motion? And Duke says, of course it was me. You could count on him.
I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job, is to spark somebody else watching us. We might not be one, but let's not be selfish. And because we're not going to change the world, let's not talk about how we should change it. I don't know how to change it, but I know if I keep talking about how dirty it is out here, somebody will clean it up. What I want people to know is that don't support the phone.
Lately I really feel like I'm roaming for doubt like Billy. Feel like I'm losing control of myself. I sincerely apologize if all that I sound like is I'm complaining, but life keeps on complicating it. Hell, can't do it myself. 2 weeks I've been having ups and downs, going through peaks and valleys, dilly-dallying around with the idea of hitting the shit right here. Shit, I'm debating on leaving this world this evening. Even my girls can see I'm grieving. I try and hide it, but I can't. Why do I act like I'm all high and mighty when inside I'm dying? I'm finally realizing I'm hating my reflection. I walk around the house trying to fight mirrors. I can't stand what I look like. Yeah, I look bad, but what do I care? I give a fuck. Only thing I fear is Haley. I'm afraid if I close my eyes, I might see it. Sing about Hollywood, sing about Hollywood.
There's never a good day, cause in my hood day, let the AKs pump strays where the kids play. And every Halloween, check out the murder scene. Can't help but duplicate the violence seen on the screen. I wonder if heaven got a ghetto, and if it does, doesn't matter if you blood or you cuz. Remember how it was, the picnics and the parties in the projects, small time drinking, getting high with the mob. My homies gone before they get to see their birthdays. These is the worst days, sometimes it hurts to pray. And even God turned his back on the ghetto youth. I know that ain't the truth. Sometimes I look, sometimes I listen. Another knucklehead kid from the gutter. I'm dealing with the madness, raised by a single mother. I'm trying to tell you when it's on, you gotta keep your head to the sky. Be strong, be strong.
Sing about Hollywood, 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 sing about Hollywood.
Attach, hut, right, hey, forward, hard. Muldoon, take over.
Yes, sir. I'm Master Sergeant Muldoon, and this is Sergeant McGee. Between us, we've had 3 tours of duty in South Vietnam, which makes us experts. So we've been ordered to volunteer to answer questions here for you today.
I'm Hume Parkinson. I happen to be a newspaper man. Since you've been in Vietnam, perhaps you can answer a question that many of our subscribers ask.
We'll try.
Why is the United States waging this ruthless war?
Foreign policy decisions are not made by the military. A soldier goes where he's told to go and fights whomever he's told to fight.
You agree with that, Sergeant McGee?
That the Green Beret is just a military robot with no personal feelings?
Can I have your name, sir?
George Beckworth, Chronicle Herald.
Thank you, sir.
Sybil Sutton, Washington Sentinel. Will you please answer that question, Sergeant McGee? Do they press a button? Do you men do what you're told to do without any personal feelings or opinions?
We have feelings, Miss Sutton, and opinions. It's pretty hard not to form them up there.
Everyone knows the South Vietnamese are fighting and dying for their cause.
As soldiers, Miss Sutton, we can understand the killing of the military. But the extermination of the civilian leadership, the intentional murder and torture of innocent women and children.
Yes, I guess horrible things happen in war. But that doesn't mean to say they need us or even want us.
I'll try to answer that question for you. Let me put it in terms we all can understand. If this same thing happened here in the United States, every mayor in every city would be murdered. Every teacher that you've ever known would be tortured and killed. Every professor you ever heard of. Every governor, every senator, every member of the House of Representatives and their combined families, all would be tortured and killed. And the like number kidnapped. But in spite of this, there's always some little fella out there willing to stand up and take the place of those who've been decimated. They need us, Miss Sutton, and they want us.
Sergeant, I'm Gladys Cooper, a housewife. It's strange that we've never read of this in the newspapers.
Well, that's newspapers for you, ma'am. You could fill volumes with what you don't read in them.
And sometimes very true, Sergeant. How do you know we should be fighting for this present government? They've had no free elections. They have no constitution. 6 months ago, a committee was appointed to form a constitution. Still no constitution.
The school I went to, Mr. Beckworth, taught us that the 13 colonies, with proper and educated leadership, all with the same goal in mind. After the Revolutionary War, took from 1776 to 1787, 11 years of peaceful effort before they came up with a paper that all 13 colonies would sign. Our present Constitution.
That's very good, Sergeant. But there are still a lot of people that believe that this is simply a war between the Vietnamese people. It's their war. Let's let them handle it.
Let them handle it, Mr. Beckworth. Captured weaponry from Red China, Chi-Com K-50, Chinese communists, SKS Soviet-made carbine, Russian communists, ammunition, Czechoslovakian-made, Czech communists. No, sir, Mr. Beckworth. It doesn't take a lead weight to fall on me or a hit from one of those weapons to recognize that what's involved here is communist domination of the world. No, sir, Mr. Beckworth. It doesn't take a lead weight to fall on me or a hit from one of those weapons to recognize that what's involved here is communist domination of the world.
Here is a cartoon with a difference. It tells a compelling story for every adult. Come and visit Animal Farm, where all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.